Vigil, Ante, and the Vigilante Antics by BelleAmant. Read by Oakshadow5. Chapter 39. Hero Names. Heading into the UA halls, Izuku never expects much from his peers. That isn't meant to sound condescending. The brunette merely knows that the students around him have more to focus on than him. Sure, the first week had gotten them some odd looks due to Hitoshi and a shared cryptid status. And yes, they'd been under some scrutiny and intense observation when the other first years had gathered around their class to scope out the competition for the sports festival. But that's all been said and done, and it's just a normal Monday. So, Izuku isn't prepared for the dozens of eyes that linger on him and his best friend, nor is he prepared for the whispers that seem to seep into the air, forcing their way into his ears. And those two winners of the sports festival? That's Izuku Midori and Hitoshi Shinzo, first and second place respectively. Hero students, yeah? They don't really have offensive quirks, though. Nah, but did you see them? They're really tough, they make it far. The whispers continue, and Izuku feels restless by the time that they make it into their classroom. I like the anonymity more, Hitoshi mutters, and Izuku laughs. I feel you, Toshi, Izuku says in return, and then they go to the desks, falling into silence. Hitoshi pulls out his phone, playing some sort of game, and Izuku pulls out his invention notebook. He has a few ideas that he wants to test out tonight, but he needs to work out a couple more details first. His classmates find around him, their animated chatter serving as a nice background noise in the back of his head as he scribbles down thoughts without pause. And then he pauses, because Tokoyami is standing beside his desk. Good morning, Tokoyami-san, Izuku greets, calmly shutting the notebook before the bird-headed boy can read any of it. How are you today? Tokoyami gives a small smile. As well as one can be when darkness inhabits their very being. Hitoshi lets out, sliding into the conversation. Relatable. Tokoyami blinks, then lets out a small chuckle. Yes, I do suppose so. Congratulations on your win, Midoriya-san, and you, Shanzo-san. Second place is very admirable. Especially when you have to fight him. Several jokes, jerking a thumb in Izuku's direction. I think my life flashed before my eyes when he threw me out of the ring. Sorry about that. Izuku apologizes, but Sora shakes his head, smiling good-naturedly. It's no problem, dude. You gotta do what you gotta do to win, you know? Shrugging, Sora adds. Besides, at least I didn't have to go up against Todoroki-san afterwards. I would have been toast. Izuku laughs, letting himself relax as his classmates, friends, continue to joke about the sports festival, their comments good-natured and calming. Then, Aizawa appears, carrying one of the largest piles of paper that the Green Knight has ever seen. Good job on the sports festival, Aizawa drawls, letting the papers drop onto his desk. You all did well, and apparently the world noticed as well. Pulling out his phone, Aizawa continues to speak. Every year, right after the sports festival, you all get a chance to do internships with an agency of your choosing. Usually, first years don't get many offers, and most will have to choose from about 40 pre-contracted agencies that are willing to take on any of our students. However, this year is different. A good amount of you have gotten personalized internship offers, with a certain 4 of you pulling in the majority. Pressing a button on his phone, a hologram flickers on the side. Izuku can't help but gape at the numbers. Most of them make sense to him. Katsuki Bakugo, 3,556 offers. That's understandable. The blonde tied for third and showed off his skills, intellectually and physically. Shoto Todoroki, 4,123 offers. Again, this is something Izuku could expect. The dual-colored male is strong and got far. And although the boy clearly detests his lineage, he knows that his classmate is being overshadowed by his father's role even now. Hitoshi Shinzo, 4,000 offers. Izuku is ecstatic at the sight, glad that people are seeing Hitoshi the same way that he does. His friend may not have an offensive quirk, but his power is a great one nonetheless, and can be used in a variety of ways. His friend is strong and smart, and it's about time the heroes picked up on that. But Izuku isn't confused about any of those. No, he's confused because there's an even higher number. Izuku Midoriya, 4,273 offers. All because Izuku could throw around a few knives and knew when to swing a staff. How the hell? Izuku lets out unwittingly, and Hitoshi nudges him in the back. You got first, Izu. What did you expect? Hitoshi jokes, but Izuku shakes his head. I didn't even... If you claim it's only because of your gadgets, I hit you with my bat the next chance we get. Hitoshi threatens, and Izuku believes it immediately. Then I won't claim anything. Izuku promises, and Hitoshi snorts. We are talking about this later, Hitoshi says, and Izuku sighs, because he knows that Hitoshi knows the reason he's so shocked. And it's a stupid reason. He knows this. He's proven himself before, proven himself for years, so he really should be over this by now. But he also smiles. Because even if he's proven himself against criminals, now heroes see him. And they see him, not Vigil, not the confident, carefree persona that he portrayed for years. No, they see Izuku Midoriya, who may be quirkless, but is giving his all. And, surprisingly, it feels good to be seen. We'll focus more on internships later, Aizawa says, and with another tap, the hologram disappears. As for right now, let's talk about something else. Hero names. The class perks up instantly, awaiting Aizawa's next words. When going out into the public, you'll need to start using your hero name. Since your internships are next week, it makes sense to use a name while out and about. The name you choose today doesn't have to be a permanent one, but you should still choose wisely. After all, if you don't... The door slams open, and Kayama saunters in. Your life will be a living hell! If Izuku hears Hitoshi and Tokoyami mutter mood under their breaths, he doesn't bat an eye. Your hero names will stick with you for the rest of your lives, even if you change it. Reputations mean a lot, and can impact even you if you're underground heroes, Kayama continues, then looks at Aizawa with a snort. Well, unless you're the underground hero, in which case you're not recognized by your own colleagues half of the time. Izuku snorts openly, and Kayama sends him a wink. I'm not qualified to help with the names, Aizawa states. And, yeah, Izuku can believe that, especially since it was Yamada who chose the name Eraserhead, and not Aizawa himself. Midnight is going to do that instead. Don't choose anything stupid. Got it? A round of assurances rise up, but Izuku just smiles politely as Aizawa sends him a suspicious glare. The moment Izuku has a whiteboard in hand, he turns around to Hitoshi. So, Toshi, dearly beloved friend of mine, Izuku starts, and Hitoshi grins. Yes, my dearest friend. Hitoshi returns, uncupping his marker. Are we still going with the team names? Izuku asks, and Hitoshi's grin turns devilish. Why, of course, Izu. Aizawa-sensei did say that we need to choose wisely, and I can't think of any better options. Are you two okay? Sora asks, and Izuku chuckles. We're perfect. We're just really excited for this. We've had our names chosen for a while. I get that, Sora says with a nod, already writing down his own name. You two plan to be a team? Well, it'd be awkward if you didn't, since we have the matching costumes and all, Izuku jokes. And that gets a laugh out of Sarah. Good point, man. So, what are the names? Covering his choice, Izuku smiles. You'll just have to wait and see. Ooh, mysterious. A few more minutes pass before Kayama calls out. Alright, boys and girls, now that you've had a chance to come up with a name, let's go one by one and present them to the class. Izuku can't help but let out a silent laugh as some of his classmates panic at the announcement. Luckily for them, Aoyama eagerly volunteers to go first. I wonder if he'll start us off with a good name, Izuku thinks. Flipping his whiteboard up dramatically, Aoyama declares. I am the shining hero. I cannot stop twinkling. The enthusiasm drops immediately, leaving silence to hang over the room like a thick fog as Kayama frowns. That's a good attempt, but it's just far too long, Kayama explains, picking up a marker and editing his decision. Take off the setup and make it a contraction. There! Can't stop twinkling. How about that? Aoyama seems to glitter with excitement, somehow, so Izuku supposes that the boy agrees. Well, whatever comes next can't be worse, right? Izuku thinks. So, of course, Ashido proves him wrong. Alien Queen! Ashido shouts, slamming her whiteboard onto the podium. No! Kayama shouts back, aghast. That's a reference to a villain, and even if it wasn't, you can't use a copyrighted name as your own. Ashido huffs, frowning as she goes back to her desk to try making a new name. Tsuyu comes up next, and, luckily, she seems to have a better handle on the whole naming thing. I've had this name in mind for years, Carol, Tsuyu says. The rainy season hero, Froppy. That's perfect, Kayama cheers, and things seem to improve from there. I'm going to be your Revity, the martial arts hero, Taeman. Call me the stun gun hero, Charge Bolt. The sturdy hero, Red Riot. The speed hero, Third Gear. King Explosion Murder. Well, most of his peers get the hang of it. One by one, Izuku watches his classmates go up and present their hero names. He smiles at some of the choices, and laughs when Kayama approves Pinky as Ashido's second choice. And then finally, there's only 2 people remaining. Midoriya? Shinzo? Who wants to go next? Kayama asks, and he can tell by her smile that she's curious about the choices. Go on, Izu, Hitoshi says with a wink, and Izuku walks up to the podium, forcing confidence into every single step. Putting on his most innocent smile, Izuku looks at his peers. Holding up his whiteboard, Izuku announces, I will be the Vigil hero, analyst. Immediately, 3 things happen. First, Hitoshi has to cover his mouth to laugh as their peers nod approvingly. Second, Kayama blinks in surprise. Third, Aizawa lifts up from where he was sleeping on the floor, eyes dangerously narrowed as he asks, What did you just say? The picture of oblivious, Izuku repeats, I'm going to be the Vigil hero, analyst. Aizawa seems to age 10 years in a single second as he asks, with the most exhaustion he can possibly muster. Why? Oh, I'm very observant, Aizawa-sensei, and a hero must also be vigilant and on the lookout for danger. In the corner of his eye, Izuku can see Tenya nodding along sharply. And while I don't have a quirk to focus my name on, I do have my analysis skills. By staying on the lookout and keeping my mind sharp, I'll be able to protect those who need it most. It's the most bullshit excuse Izuku has ever come up with on the spot, even if it is correct. Aizawa seems to know that it's not Izuku's full motive, as he doesn't bother to hide his skepticism even as he dismisses Izuku back to his seat. For the record, Kayama whispers as he walks by, I think it's a good one. Thanks, Kayama-sensei, Izuku says, and she laughs. Alright, Shinzo, you have a final one. Hitoshi walks up to the podium without any dramatics, and keeps his expression relaxed and borderline lazy as he flips over the whiteboard and rolls out. I'm the anti-hero, ventriloquist. Izuku schools his expression as best as he can when he sees Aizawa's eye twitch, the man now sitting on his desk chair. Any particular reason why? Aizawa asks, and Hitoshi shrugs. Well, I've been told that my brainwashing makes people feel like they're being controlled like a puppet, and that it makes them move like they've lost the ability to fight against me, and Ante means before, so I'm going to take them down before they even realize I'm there, and by the time they notice, they'll be too busy turning themselves in. Someone in the room cheers at the reasoning, likely Kaminari or Ashido, but Izuku cares more about the increasingly obvious scowl that spreads across Aizawa's face. Why do I feel like you and Midoriya planned this? Aizawa asks, cutting to the chase, and Izuku pipes up. That's simple, Aizawa-sensei. It's because we did. Izu and I are going to be a duo together, didn't you know? Hitoshi asks, lips twitching up into an amused smile. A wise decision? Tenya cheers on, oblivious as though his words only frustrate the teacher more. Midoriya-kun and Shinzo-kun make a wonderful team, Aizawa-sensei. Their friendship seems to have contributed to the wonderful partnership. Yeah, Kirishima adds. Those two were so manly when they fought together during the battle simulations a few weeks ago. They were like pros already. Izuku watches in unrestrained glee as Aizawa's eyes narrow even more, focused on Hitoshi for what feels like forever, before finally, they shift to look at Izuku. And Izuku simply smiles, throwing in a wink for good measure. If Izuku laughs a little louder than normal, who can really blame him? So, Kirishima starts, taking a seat at the beloved lunch table. Midori bro, Shin bro, who do you two plan on interning with? Izuku startles, and Hitoshi raises an eyebrow at his new nickname, but Izuku lets out a laugh and shrugs. I'm not sure yet. We just got the papers today after all, and there's a lot of options. Well, that's to be expected, isn't it? Kaminari asks, and points a chopstick at Izuku. You are Mr. First Place after all. Well, yeah, but Izu has self-confidence issues and thinks he only got so far because he can use weapons. Hitoshi cuts off, deadpan, and Izuku can't stop the blush that covers his face. Wait, really? Kirishima asks, eyes wide. Bro, you're like one of the coolest people I've ever met. And one of the smartest, Tenya adds helpfully. You're one of the top scorers in our class so far, and you possess an intellect great enough to create things that most of us in this class could not. You're probably on par with Momo, to be honest, Ashido chimes in. You get things, you understand stuff so easily, and then you use that knowledge to make stuff. Izuku isn't crying. No, but his eyes are much more misty than they were when he sat down to eat. Thank you, guys, Izuku says, voice wavering, and his friends beam at him, responding cheerfully. When Izuku is finally able to control his voice, he clears his throat and asks, So, who do you guys want to work with? Any ideas so far? The question manages to incite a flurry of activity, his peers answering immediately. Wolfkind offered me an internship. Kirishima cheers. That man is super manly, so I've just gotta take him up on it. I think I'll be going with Selkie, Tsuyu states calmly. They work on the seas, and I excel in the water. That's a good idea, Tsuchan, Oraka cheers, having taken a place beside the froggy girl. I'm going with Gunhead. Really? Kaminari asks. Aren't they a more offensive hero? I thought you wanted to be a rescue-based pro. I do, Oraka says. But after my match against Bakugo, I realized that only focusing on one aspect of heroics is limiting me. By branching out, I'll be able to go farther. That's a good idea, Uraraka, Ashido compliments, and Uraraka's blush grows. I have no clue what I'm going to do. I got no offers. You're surprisingly cheerful about that, Jiro notes, and Ashido shrugs. It's disappointing, sure, but that just means I have to try harder next time. That's a very mature way of thinking about all of this, Tenya comments, and Ashido beams. Thanks, and I got out in the first round, but you got a few offers, didn't you? Ashido asks, and Tenya nods. I did get a few offers, although I'm not sure who I'll choose quite yet. There's no rush, Kirishima says. We've got until Friday to decide anyways. Take your time, man. Tenya nods stiffly, and just like that, the conversation moves on to other things, like what everyone did during the weekend. Izuku smiles at the peacefulness, then startles when Hitoshi nudges his shoulder. Want to compare lists? Hitoshi asks, and Izuku hums before nodding. Cool, finish eating, and we can head back to class. 10 minutes later, Izuku and Hitoshi leave the table and head back to their classroom. It's empty, all of their peers eating in the cafeteria or somewhere else, so Izuku doesn't have to worry about filtering his thoughts as he and Hitoshi pull out their stacks of paper. Any specific agencies you're hoping for? Izuku asks, and Hitoshi shrugs. Not sure, Hitoshi admits. I'm not really planning on being a daytime hero, you know. I think I prefer our underground style. Besides, a quirk isn't one that works for everyone knows how to counter it. Izuku knows this all too well. The duo have spent multiple nights discussing their futures, talking about the kinds of heroes that they want to be. Neither of us are really flashy enough, Izuku admits easily. And while I've got a lot of offers, I think a lot of them are from support companies, actually. Flipping through the stack, Izuku's suspicions are correct. He can already spot a few well-known industries. From the amused grin on Hitoshi's face, he has no doubt that his friend has similar results. The majority are still actual heroes from my end, Hitoshi says. What about you? Mostly heroes, Izuku confirms. What are the odds that they assume I have a quirk, though? Yamada never mentioned whether or not I had one during the festival, and nobody is going to assume that a hero student got onto UA without a quirk, right? Hitoshi doesn't answer, but he doesn't have to. Izuku sighs, flipping through the stack without as much interest as before. And then he registers one of the names. Slowly, Izuku flicks back a page, is snaring on the name. Hey, Toshi? Izuku pipes up, and his insomniac companion raises an eyebrow. What's up, Izu? The boy asks, and Izuku laughs once. Go to the E section, alright? E? Sure, whatever. Who is it? Izuku asks, already flipping to find his place. You'll see it when you get there, Izuku says vaguely, and Hitoshi snorts. Let's see. Who could possibly be so exciting? Wait, please tell me it isn't Endeavor. His finger is running down the page, and Izuku giggles. It isn't him, don't worry. Alright, good. But then, who's so important? His finger stops trailing, and Izuku watches as Hitoshi slowly blinks down at the page. Turned. Izuku glances at the boy's paper, and sure enough, they both had the same name listed. Eraserhead. Why does Aizawa want us to intern under him? Izuku asks, and Hitoshi shrugs. Maybe he knows that we plan to go underground? Hitoshi offers. maybe, or maybe it's just bias. He doesn't like the idea. He really doesn't. But Izuku can't deny that might be the cause. But another part of Izuku screams that there's no way Aizawa cares about them, and he definitely doesn't care enough about them to be biased. They're problem children after all. Check if Yamada sent in a request. If he did, it might be bias, Hitoshi says, already flipping to find the piece. Izuku joins in, practically tossing the other papers aside and is further to find the name. Or a leg thereof. He finds the name. Present Mike. He sent me an offer, Izuku says slowly, not knowing what it means. He didn't send me one, Hitoshi says, and for some reason that Izuku doesn't want to think about, the words make something drop in Izuku's stomach. It might be disappointment. Oh, maybe they actually thought we did good, Izuku says, a forced chuckle leaving his mouth. We are the top 2, Izu. Hitoshi reminds him for what must be the 10th time since the festival, and Izuku blushes. Right, so that's cool. I guess we keep looking at other options now, Izuku says, and Hitoshi nods slowly. They spend 5 more minutes flipping through the sheets before they both set their stacks down, looking at each other with exasperation. We're going with them, aren't we? Hitoshi asks, and Izuku sighs before nodding. They're our best offers. Yuasa can teach you underground methods that we couldn't teach ourselves. You're not going with him? Hitoshi cuts in, and Izuku shakes his head. I think I'll go with Mike. He's one of my best sources of inspiration for my inventions. So we divide and conquer? Hitoshi asks, and Izuku nods with a smile. Divide and conquer? We can teach each other what we learned once the week is up. Twice the information in half the time, Hitoshi muses. Sounds good enough for me. And so, it's decided that Izuku and Hitoshi will intern with their guardians. Oh, what a week that will be. The week is nearly over, and Tenya is stuck in the middle of a moral dilemma. It feels as though he is walking down a path, and suddenly there are 2 ways he can go. One path seems like the right way in the eyes of society. The other leads him down a road that could put him into very deep water, but will satisfy his desire for justice. His thirst for cold-blooded revenge, a part of Tenya screams, but Tenya dutifully ignores this part. It is Friday afternoon, and Tenya needs to turn in his internship forms. He needs to accept one of his offers before the rapidly approaching deadline, and yet all Tenya can do is stand and ponder. Normally, Tenya would abide by the cries of the law. He is a young male who knows what is right and what is wrong, and he knows that an eye for an eye can only serve to make the whole world blind. It is unbecoming of a hero in training to want to hurt someone else after all. Then, again, Tenya knows that Bakugo seems to find pleasure in hurting his opponents, even when it is his classmates and not an actual villain. No. Tenya knows better than to use Bakugo as an example. Bakugo may be strong, and he may have a masterful control of his volatile quirk, but he is not a role model when it comes to how one should act. And yet, Tenya, for once in his life, feels the urge to harm, to rage and shout and cause mayhem, to throw a kick that should never be let loose, to punch with far more force than necessary. He should push these feelings down. He should ignore them and let them dissipate over time. He should be grateful that Tensei is not dead, because the truth is a blessing right now. He should be so much better than this need for vengeance. He should be so much better because he is an Ida. He has a reputation to uphold. He has so much to be grateful for. He has to let these feelings go. He decides to intern under Manuel, who's located in Hosu. He takes the road less traveled. A part of him regrets the decision, but a larger part thrills with pleasure. And Tenya listens. The lab feels cold. It always does. It has to be cold, to make sure that machines don't overheat or become too humid to work properly. But the frigid, biting air only makes it feel more impure. More wrong, Izuku supposes. It feels unwelcoming. Not that Izuku should feel welcome in a villain's lab. But a little coziness would do well to melt off some of the nerves that wind around Izuku's body whenever he comes back, constricting his lungs and forcing his heart to beat twice as fast. It's pathetic, really. He's been in this lab for years, has sat at the same workbench for longer than he can correctly recall, and yet he's still a mess whenever he arrives. And he's just as much of a disaster when he leaves for the day. Hitoshi is too, but Izuku never can focus on that for long. because he can't bear the guilt that comes with the thought, can't handle the shame that encompasses him when he knows how uncomfortable his best friend is doing their work. He can't. He might break if he does. And if Hitoshi won't say anything, why should he? It's for the future, after all. The perfect picture they've worked to create, one painted on a canvas made of lies and imperfections, one marred with cracked paint since the very first brushstroke. But it'll be a painting nonetheless, and Izuku knows the picture will be worth it. Hitoshi does too. And so, they work in the lab, uncomfortable, unwelcome, unloved. It's not very different from the orphanage in that regard, and yet, somehow, Izuku and Hitoshi have a better chance at gaining a mother in a lab than they did back in an orphanage. Funny how life works, isn't it? Izuku chuckles to himself, the sound bitter and only partially forced as he looks down at the piece he works on. It's the chest and torso, with Izuku making the front half while Hitoshi makes the back. They're connected on the next visit, but today is about precision, about double-checking that everything is proportioned correctly and in the proper place, every bolt screwed in tightly, every inch left without a dent. Funny how Izuku can make his own family, but rather than make a child, he makes his own mother. It's not funny. It really, truly isn't, and Izuku knows this well, and yet he lies to himself, because sometimes one must push past pain with humor. It's still not funny, and it never will be. We got the internship offers for Izuku and Hitoshi, and then we get to see an update on how they're doing with building the robot. It's so much angst in that one part of the chapter. But anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed chapter 39 of Vigil, Ante and the Vigilante Antics, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!